good, YouTube? This is your boy G Moolah in the building, man. We back out here with another banger, man. And today's you listening to my boy Jason Wilson, man. Ooh, that boy powerful, man. That boy's powerful, man. Look at the title, man. That's not a real man. Oh man, I'm big on these type of conversations, man. I'm very big. The alpha male or the beta. I was big on the alpha beta joint. Well, you did anything that was beta vibes, I'm like, yo, that's a beta right there. You did anything that was top 5, yo, you alpha, bro. Salute. But today, my boy about to talk some fire, man. I wanna stay tuned to this, bro. Come tune in with your boy, man. We about to get into that, man, with this conversation. Word up. We about to get into that, man. So stay the vibe, man. Before we even get into the video, like I say every video, like and subscribe, man. Period. Like and subscribe to the video, bro. Share it if you want to, bro. I don't care about the sharing part. Like and subscribe to John, bro, because my video is gonna get out regardless. You know what I'm saying? It's gonna share itself by itself. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, like and subscribe to the video, man. Take 2 seconds to hit a button. Boom, boom. You done, bro. Support, bro. It don't cost you nothing to support, man. Come on, y'all can't even support for free, bro. So I already know y'all not paying for nothing. Bitch, y'all don't even like to support for free. Nah. Free nah, bro. That's free nah. Y'all can't even support? Come on, baby. Y'all bugging, bro. Straight up bugging. But yo, we about to get into this video and we about to talk, man. And don't take it personal. I mean, if you do, I don't care. I don't care. Then you take it beta vibes. Because alphas don't take it personal. Let's get into the video.
The whole alpha male concept is a myth. There is no battle between two wolves to see who's going to lead the wolf pack. From a human standpoint, the alpha wolves are those that are married. Your whole embodiment is to please women. From the glasses to the cigars, to the big Bugattis, to the Ferraris, to the shoes, to the clothes. You're the alpha. Your whole life is geared around pleasing women.
Let's please a woman.
Man, let me tell you, hold on, time out.
Facts. And I learned that 4 years ago. It ain't about you. Never been about you. It never been about a man. Never been about him. You do what's necessary and you do what you have to do. But you take care of that woman. I was big on not dating around, and I always was looking for a wife. I always was looking for a wife. I wanted a wife, and I dated, you know what I'm saying, because I was looking for a wife. I was only looking for a couple of things when I was looking for a woman. Do you cook, and do you take care of yourself? That's what I was looking for. Do you cook, and do you take care of yourself? Because when you take care of yourself, that comes with a whole lot of stuff. And do you cook? Do you like to cook? Because that's my favorite meal. That's my favorite thing to do is eat. I love to eat. Swell too. I mean, I was the baby of my siblings, you know what I'm saying? I ain't never cook. When I was young, I ain't never cook, bro. My mom cooked, my sisters cooked. I ain't never cooked. So every woman that wanted to be with G, you had to cook, man. You had to know how to cook. Because I like big meals. I like the Big Mac. I like the fried chicken. I like the ribs. I like the crabs. I like the shrimps. I like the mashed potatoes. I like the collard greens. You got to get busy. And when I met my wife, OGP, she made me fried chicken and mashed potatoes and what was it, corn? I think it was a corn on a cob joint. The corn joint. That was my first meal I think she ever made for me. Bro, I was like, bro, that's over, bro. Fried chicken was my thing, bro. You know how to make fried chicken, bro? Nah, we locked in. We locked.
I get a lot of books. I'm reading this one. We were created to be more than masculine. You look at David throughout the Psalms, he cried. But no one dared test his masculine attribute. How would you define masculinity or define manhood? Well, that's the Kendrick. This is the deep end with Lecrae. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm excited for y'all today. See, I'm excited for y'all because if you don't know, you gonna know. I beg you to stick around for this.
No.
Cause sticking.
I'm definitely sticking around. I'm sticking around. I ain't going nowhere. I'm chilling. We outside.
Around means growth. Today we got the honor of welcoming an incredible individual to the podcast today. We got a transformational leader. We got a best-selling author. We got a trailblazer in emotional intelligence. So I might be crying today. You know what I mean? Character development. You know, we got my brother Jason Wilson. Jason is the CEO and the founder of the Cave of Adullam. And I probably didn't say that right, but we'll get it right by the end of the cast. You know what I'm saying? Also, you know, basically, you know, it's a transformational training academy. So we got martial arts happening in disenfranchised communities. A lot going on here.
Big things going on, man. I watched those videos with those young men, man. These young men need men. They need men. Like my sons, they need me. And they need to be around other men to show them. Like, yo, I done heard this year, yo. I think when I was probably still in high school, I think I heard this, that it take a village to raise your kids, man. It's not just me and my wife. It takes a village, man, to raise those babies, man. And that's why I had to find a church home. I had to find one because it takes a village, and I need a village. I need brothers, I need sisters. I need everybody to play a part in my kid's life, respectfully.
Here. And then on top of that, man, you didn't help tons of people navigate their emotions. Tons of people break barriers and discover their potential. And so your books, Cry Like a Man, Battle Cry, of course we got this one here, The Man, The Moment Demands, are challenging stereotypes.
Yeah.
And I'm just grateful, man. I know we seen you everywhere. CNN, Joe Rogan Experience, you know what I'm saying? Some of us saw, not you specifically, but we saw This Is Us take a little inspiration from you.
That's a good way to put it.
So we're gonna talk about that as well, man. I don't know what happened. I don't know, did they pay you or did they ask permission? But we'll find out, you know what I'm saying? But man, I'm honored to have you, bro.
I'm honored to be here, brother. And as I said, walking in, I'm really proud of you, your longevity. And I remember when it all started, and it was just amazing to see God's like anointing fall on you.
Wow.
And it was so needed during the time because Christian hip hop, we had basically started, we had infiltrated all of like the East Coast sound, even some of the West Coast.
Mm-hmm.
But this new surge of hip hop came, which was from the South.
Yeah.
And God sent you to minister to that population and even more. And so I just wanted to commend you for answering that call, man. And I'm just proud of all you've been through.
Yeah.
Even your transparency. What was your last book?
I'm Restored.
Yes.
Yeah.
That was
I'm Restored.
right?
Yeah,
man.
That's beautiful, man. I think I'm ready. I think I'm restored. I done gave my life to the Lord, man. Through all the challenges, through all the toughness, all the complications, I done gave it to Him. Like I don't want nothing to do with me. I don't want to do nothing. I don't want to think of nothing. I don't want to come to my own. I don't want to do nothing without my higher power, and that's my Lord Savior. I need Jesus. I need God. I need Him. And I can say I need Him. I can say that.
Man, I just appreciate you sharing the other side
Oh, man.
of who you are and showing, so brothers know that we don't have to wear this facade.
Yeah.
And the Superman cape that's strangling so many men.
Right.
It's time to take that off and exude the humanity that the Most High has given us to live in. So
Amen.
I commend you for
Hey, man, I'm honored. It's always helpful to hear somebody who can put a person in the arm bar tell you that it's okay to cry.
Yeah, okay.
You know what I mean?
I had to,
I'm
that's,
gonna
I
cry.
think what launched everything for the cave. And
I'm
so,
gonna
but
tell you,
prior to that, bro,
I ain't never hide it. If I ain't doing good, I ain't doing good. I'm gonna let you know I ain't good. You feel me? I ain't good. And I ain't about to fake it like I'm good. Cause I ain't good. Now, that I went through all those complications, I'm good. Cause I got God now, man. I ain't worried about nothing. I ain't stressing about nothing. I'm leaving it all to the man that's guiding me through everything that I'm going through in my life. From my kids to my marriage to my jobs to my figure. My figure is important to me. But I like to eat. But I ain't never gained weight like that. So, but it's still not good. A lot of sugar ain't good for you. You know what I'm saying? So,
brother, I don't want to get too far over
No,
here.
go ahead, yeah.
But what's interesting, you bringing that up, as I was writing this book, I'm like, man, what allowed my boys the freedom to cry? Because when I first started, I embodied just only discipline. In martial arts, that's all they saw. They didn't see a tender side to me. But when my mother had developed dementia, she had a mini stroke. And my wife had came into the area where we were training. And I knew something was wrong. And she called me over and I said, hey, what's going on? She says, Mom had to get rushed to the hospital. She just had a stroke, a mini stroke. That was the first time, brother. So here I'm in the middle, my gi, ready to train, my kids excited, all the fathers are there, and I get overwhelmed with emotions. And I'm fighting it, and I'm like, man, what is this conflict? David cried throughout the scriptures.
Right.
Yeshua, Jesus cried. Why can't men today release what I believe from studying the Most High's way to release stress hormones from the body? This has been proven by Dr. William Frey. In that moment, one of my students get up, say, Sharath. I didn't want to be called sensei, which means teacher. Call me Sharath. In Hebrew, that means servant. So I'll always be reminded of my role in the cave of Adullam. And he said, Sharath, can I pray for you? I'm like, yeah, sure. When those kids surrounded me, man, I broke down. That was like the gateway or the key to not only their freedom to be human, but the father's.
Amen.
And so when that video went viral, we had already been set free. And God wanted to use that moment to set the world free. The men who are emotionally incarcerated.
Emotionally incarcerated. That's a great way to put it.
Powerful. Powerful.
So I'm glad you told that story actually, because a lot of people would have seen a moment like that, but not necessarily been ready to step into it in a healthy way. And so I kind of want to kind of backtrack and see like what had your experiences been, that because there's always a trial before the triumph. You know what I mean? So I know a little bit of your story, but I'm interested in learning a little more. Like I look at myself, I was what they call a hangbanger. You know what I mean? I wasn't a gangbanger. I wasn't I hung with the bangers. You know what I mean?
I never heard that before.
Yeah.
I was a hangbanger.
Okay.
I wasn't all the way in, but I was around.
That's what so I'm just curious, like growing up on, I know that had a lot of negative effects on me. Had warped my views of masculinity and manhood. And I'm just curious, like you even mentioned like you tried to prove yourself, and like talk to us a little bit about that journey and what that looked like for you growing up.
Well, growing up, man, not really understanding the impact of unresolved trauma. And in my community,
Detroit, right?
Yeah, Detroit. From Detroit, West Side Detroit, right between 8 Mile and 7 Mile.
Okay.
Between two of the largest gangs, 7 Mile BKs, 8 Mile Sconies and Smurfs. The gold standard for a black male was to be hypermasculine, to be dominant, show no weakness, infallible to fear. And so inside, I was raised to be a good boy, but I was literally born into trauma. My grandfather was lynched in 1935, and that intergenerational trauma carried over from my mother's siblings to when she got married. Her first husband was abusive. Used to hit her like sacks of meat.
hanging like in a Rocky movie from what my brother told me.
Sheesh.
And then he would walk through the house slapping them with the flat sides of butcher knives when he was upset. He would shoot his gun in them. And I just praise Yah that my brother still has his sanity because he grew up in that. And not only that, in 1973, when I was 3, my brother Larry was murdered. And so here it is, starting from my grandfather's lynching, it just keeps going and keeps going. And if not for my birth, my mother said that she would have probably taken her life. She already,
That's crazy.
from what I was told from the neighborhood, people who supported her, she was just out of it because Larry was beloved by so many people in our community. And I share that because we moved from that side of town because I kept, every time the doorbell would ring, I would run to it and say, Larry, Larry, Larry. And so here's the trauma revisiting again.
Wow.
We moved to the
It's
west
tough.
side of Detroit.
It's tough.
Beautiful neighborhood, but dangerous.
Right.
Dangerous.
You couldn't tell,
Right.
but it was dangerous. And I tried to be this kind boy who I was. I loved art. I loved playing the guitar, and, being creative. But I had to pick a side. And my father wasn't there. Same city, just wasn't present. He had his own wounds. And the gang became my big brothers. After my older brother moved to Texas, Sinclair, the gang. I knew not to go so far because, inside of me, it was like, I don't want to put my mother through that again.
Right.
But I did a lot of foolish things and things that I regret to this day. Kids who were kind, I would have, I never like bullying, but just to be cool with the gang, I would sell out kids who were just friends of mine who were nice. You see what I'm saying? And I saw that like, wait a minute, what's happening to the culture, the music, brother? Every album cover, no one smiled. Rakim was one of my favorite. I ain't no joke. E40, what was it? I practiced looking hard. And so all of that shaped me, changed this kind-hearted, loving, full of joy, loving my mom, to someone who became angry, frustrated. Me and my mother, at odds, because she didn't want to lose another son. So anything I tried to do that was a little risky, not as far as like dangerous, but we would take a chance, she would like discourage me. And so here it is at that pivotal age for most boys, 12 years old, grades are plummeting. My mother and I are not getting along. She wants to get me on medication because no one really understood how effective, negative rather, the father wound can be in a young boy's life. And so that's what shaped me into, this hard young man. Became a DJ, real popular in 1986 in Detroit. A rap group was called Chaos and Maestro. We did concerts with Public Enemy, X-Clan, who was Will Smith and DJ Jazzy Jeff when they were together.
Oh, wow.
So we were really popular. Then God started calling me at like 17.
Okay. So wait, you were pursuing music.
Wow.
Absolutely.
You wanted to be an artist.
Yes. Yeah, I wanted to be first the best DJ, and I was, I think, one of the top in my city, definitely. Easy.
Yeah.
But then I started making beats, and that became a goal. You see Jam Master Jay and all of them, like, I can do this, I can do it. I finally had an identity where I didn't have to be the killer, but I was the guy who orchestrated the music for the killer. So I was,
you could be connected to
it. They called me Maestro, because I could always rock the club, and I was just like, all the music. So all the gang members would love me to DJ their parties.
That's crazy.
And so it was a way for me to stay cool, but not necessarily become a gangster.
Which is
That's
tough
smart.
in a city like Detroit, because Detroit, like you were saying, beautiful neighborhood. Historically, Detroit is like this, was the land of promise, and you got all this opportunity to work in the factories and to work in the car factories or whatnot. Of course, then there's an economic downturn, and that affects the culture. It can get chaotic, and then you got everybody's mama and cousin moving from Mississippi. They may have different motives and different intentions, and so you get that hodgepodge, and I could imagine it's a cesspool, obviously, for a lot of different activities. Plus, you know, you're still dealing with barriers that keep people from becoming who they would like to be. So you are in the music space, right? And Detroit has a rich music history, you know, from Motown to even the hip hop, you go all the way down.
Yes.
It didn't work, or did you stop, or what happened?
I kept going, brother.
Okay.
You know, I mean, I had produced songs for Chris Webber.
Okay.
You know, because I was a popular DJ, so when he was going to University of Michigan,
Yeah.
him and Jalen Rose called me to DJ their party.
Okay.
I didn't follow sports, so I'm like, I don't know you guys, but it's $400, you know. And so I remember Jay Rose. He was like, well, man, can you just come on, man. We just want you to come and hang with us.
Yeah.
So when I walked in, we was at the Renaissance Center, which is like an iconic building in Detroit, and I'd never seen human beings this tall in my life in person. Me and Chris became close, and I started producing music for him, and I actually did a song with Corrupt and him called Gangsta Gangsta that charted Billboard, I think, in the high 70s.
Oh, yeah, I remember that song.
Yeah, I produced that, and then I did a song with Redman on Chris' album as well.
Yeah.
The turning point, though, brother, I'm glad you brought that up. You know, every studio has a kitchen.
I like that he's soft spoken. I really like that, and that's what I'm learning now is how to be soft spoken. I don't have to be ha ha ha. I don't have to be like that. I could be like this, yeah, and like that. You know, this is how it's supposed to go, and still get a point across without having to get rowdy, because, you know, I don't have to be rowdy. But I'm still chill. But if you irritate me enough, I could switch quick. I don't want to switch, because Jesus never switched. He stood just like that, soft spoken. Maybe went up a pitch, but that was about it. So this is what I'm learning, you know, even dealing with my wife and situations, you know, how to stay on the same page and how to be soft spoken and be able to lift her up, even when I'm not agreeing with what she's talking about. So I'm learning.
Like you do, and so it's an area where you can go after you record. You can just stop for a moment, eat, and just talk.
Now that's really interesting. You know what else is interesting? Is ad-free content. Like not having this interview interrupted by ads. And that's what I believe you want. The way that happens is by you subscribing to B-Side, where you will get seamless ad-free content, and you'll be able to enjoy this interview along with tons of others without any interruptions.
I'm sitting across from Redman, and we started talking about religion. And at this moment, you know, I had given my life to Christ, surrendered my life.
Were you raised in the church? Like, how does it?
Well, my mother, we went to church, so I was in church, but not in Christ.
Okay.
You know, I was actually, man, you're bringing a lot of memories now. I would skip, so when my mother she was singing the choir, so when she would go up in the choir, I would go out the alley and go to the arcade down the street. And what was interesting, brother, I had a dream. That same alley, I would go out and play the arcade games and come right back before she get out the choir stands. I had a dream that two deacons grabbed me, because I was in the basement, grabbed me, took me to that same alley, and pointed down the alley and said, look. When I looked, I saw myself at a podium preaching, and it was clouds behind me. And I couldn't discern the dream at the time, but one of my spiritual fathers told me, God is going to take you out of the four walls into the alley and the highways and byways where people are hurting, where you can preach the gospel.
Amen.
So that was scary. And I didn't, you know, bro. I know you know the journey. It's like he calls you and you run until you get tired of trying to do it your way, then you surrender.
Yeah.
But back to the Redman conversation, I started ministering to this brother because I had given my life over. And we was talking about Islam, metaphysics, and Egyptology, and then Christianity. And I remember his manager comes in, eating lobster tails, like this, like out of his hand, saying, you can't listen to Magi, because I changed my name from Maestro to Magi, because Magi was the wise men in the Bible. So here it is, I'm still trying to hang on to the world, but still wanting to rep Christ. And he says, you can't listen to him. He just made the track with you talking about women calling them hoes and bees and all this. How he gonna talk to you about God? And they both force laughed me out the kitchen. And in that moment, I said, you know, I'm gonna pick a side. I was never one to be a hypocrite anyway. And Corrupt and I really appreciated him during that time. He was at the height with Dog Pound, and I said, man, I can't do music for you guys. I told all my friends in Detroit. They were like, why not? Why not? You just making the beat, you know. That's what people were saying back then. I said, well, no, I got a vision that my music is the gun. Your lyrics are the bullets. When we come together, that trigger squeezes and kills a mind.
Right.
So I have to make sure that whatever is in this gun will bring God the glory.
Amen.
And so I left it that day and never looked back. And that's when I started the Union Records Christian hip hop label.
Yeah.
And that's how that came to
That's fire.
The gun and a bullet analogy is crazy.
It's crazy.
So yeah, so it's interesting because I remember, you know, I'll take a quick foray into the hip hop element because I want to get to a lot of the emotional intelligence and some of those particular things, but just I remember you creating music and orchestrating projects that were cutting edge at the time that they came out. And the first project that was the first all women's Christian hip hop project y'all made. I remember the Her Project. I used to bang that on a regular basis.
Healing through evangelism and rhymes.
Yeah, man.
That was the acronym. Yes.
And so I just remember like being around y'all and knowing like, you know, something different. You know, like, because I mean, there's a lot of Christian rappers, but y'all had something unique, and I could see that even at that time period. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it was, and you know, brother, you had the gatekeepers, you know, and our ministry was to the lost, and we never knocked those who wanted to minister to the sheep, those who were in the flock, but we always felt like we never really fit in. That's why when you came and your sound was just everything was just rare, brother. Your energy and it was encouraging because it showed that wait a minute, there is room,
right,
for our type of radical.
Yeah,
you know. So
yeah, I feel like there's some people who are gifted at going from the church to the world. There's some people who are gifted at going from the church to the church. And then there's some people who are a bridge, and people go back and forth. And so I always wanted to be the bridge artist, where it's like I can live in both of those spaces. At some point, you know, you were talking about your mother got sick, she got dementia, and the emotional turmoil that was for you. Talk a little bit about that journey and what you experienced. I remember, I guess there was a point where you were actually asking God to just like take her life.
Yeah, brother. I had prior to that, again, to the journey that got me here, we had purchased a house, my wife and I, large house, had like an in-law suite, and Mama, you can come stay with us, you know. And I said, look, can you, I'm gonna pay for you to go down to Atlanta with your best friend while I renovate this house, because I had skills in construction. As I was renovating this house, brother, my mother had a major mental breakdown. I get a call, she's screaming, yelling, her best friend saying, stop, Marie, stop, and she's just throwing her best friend's furniture around, shattering glasses and vases. I'm like, what's going on? No one knew. She ran through the neighborhood. Finally, her mind couldn't take all that she was suppressing. And so I had to calm Mom down just to get her on the plane back to Detroit, bro. So when she came back, she had to stay with us. And at the time, our house was maybe 1,300 square feet. And I saw the stress on my children. My daughter, who adored my mother, couldn't sleep because she was in middle school because Grandma was pacing in the hallway and in the living room. And then to hear your own mother, you know, like, well, are you going to take care of me? I know you're not going to abandon me. I said, no, Mom, I got a house for you. Fast forward, she had another episode. And the doctor said, the neurologist said, she can't stay with you guys. She needs 24-hour care.
Wow.
At the time, we couldn't afford it. My mother's Social Security couldn't pay for it. Thankfully, the Most High provided a place just 2 minutes from us. Beautiful home, beautiful neighborhood. Only, there would be 4 mothers there, older women who all had dementia. And a lady named Kathy took amazing care of them. Wow. During that process, she would call me when I have anger. My mother would have anger outbursts of anger rather. It'd be 3 in the morning, I gotta get up to go to work. I felt like I was losing my mind, Craig. It was like, and I would get up like, I gotta go to work, I can't come over there. One day when I was driving to go see Mom, Holy Spirit said, you know it's written that you will reap what you sow. I said, yes. You remember the times, Jason, when you would hang out late DJing and your mother would worry? You didn't care the fact that she lost another son. It wasn't that important to you, and you would come home some days in the morning. My mother would be sitting on the front porch shaking, worried. And I would come home and like it was nothing, man, just hey, Mom, and walk by. He says, well, remember that when you go in that house, because it's your turn to receive what you've planted, your young adult life. And at that moment, I said, okay, good, I get that. But why are you keeping her here when she's not really living? Take her life. Wow, God was like, you don't know what love is. That's not love, that's fear. You're selfish.
Wow.
In order for you to take care of her, you can't be this Jason that's only masculine, the one who only exudes strength and boldness, aggression to in the doctors or pharmaceutical companies trying to rip her off. The son that may have to work another job just to help pay for some of her psych medication. You have to become tender, long-suffering, patient, kind, a nurturer. And other than that, she won't get the care she received. She needed. So at that moment, brother, I said, I'm gonna do whatever it takes. I'm gonna leave it all on the field for Mama. Yeah. And that's what changed me, because I would have never filed her nails being just a hyper-masculine male.
Not at all.
I would have never massaged her scalp. She would lose her, just her mind and be angry. And I would just come, and I had to stay calm and say, Mama, it's gonna be okay, and just rubbing her scalp. And then when Kathy was sick and down, I had to wash Mom up. And men who are only like masculine, only are stuck in that box.
Right.
Can't do all things through Christ. Because when he needs you to be a nurturer, you can't.
You don't know how to.
When he needs you to be a gentleman, you can't. When he needs you to be a true lover, you can't. When he needs you to be long-suffering, you can't. But if he needs you to fight and provide, you can. So I wanted to be not only all things through Christ, but I wanted to be an image not of him, just of him, because he was the ultimate comprehensive man.
Right.
And so I embodied all of that, but it was my mother, not my martial arts training, not psychotherapy. He used her as the ultimate sensei, the teacher, to shape me into the man I became today.
Jeez. Man, let me tell you something.
That's
Hold on.
powerful, man. That's amazing.
I get a lot of books.
That is amazing, man. Oh, Lord, that's so good, man. You know how much that takes out of a man, out of his comfort zone? It breaks you down. And God breaks you down just to build you back up. Amen to that. Amen to that, man.
I'm reading this one. This is in this book?
Yes, sir.
I'm reading this book.
Yes.
Goodness gracious, man. Like that just a vivid thought of you filing your mother's nails. It gets me emotional. It cuts me to the core, because I'm like, man, am I that guy?
Right.
And who do I need to become to be that guy? You know what I'm saying? That's powerful.
That's good. I was even with the title, it's like, how many of us are the wrong man in the moment? How often do we blow those moments? I often compare, our emotional repertoire to the 8 box of crayons versus the 64 box of crayons. I break it down in there. as men, we're used to the 8, having 8, and I tie it to the emotions, but we only pull 4 of those out. Anger,
4 of them.
boldness, aggression, and maybe fear. Okay? But women, they choose to use all of the emotions that God has given us both. And then we wonder why we can't communicate with the women in our lives. It's always like a conflict. Like, she don't understand, I'm trying to do this and this and that. Like, you're not really hearing her.
Right.
You can't meet her with what she's saying because you only got 4 colors, brother. So she pulls out violet. She's trying to communicate violet. All you got is purple. She pulls out lime. You trying to get green and yellow. Like, okay, but you don't see how hard I'm trying to work. I'm trying to, no, your heart is too hard.
So if nothing
You're
else,
hearing her words, but you can't hear her heart. And so we respond dogmatically, and now our wives put their hands up. There is no communication at that point. So I had to learn how to become a verbal processor and process in real time. Like, what is my wife really saying? And when I got to that level, now I can say, hey, babe, instead of saying, you pissed me off, or, just accelerate to anger fast, I can say, it hurts me that you don't trust me leading this home. Instead of saying, why don't you submit to me? Why don't you trust me, babe?
Yeah.
I haven't failed yet in this regard. We make mistakes, but I hold the house. I do my part as the man and the head of this home. Now I'm pulling more colors out. I can meet her. And that's the importance of being comprehensive as a man. We were created to be more than masculine. You look at David, brother, throughout the Psalms, he cried. But no one dared test his masculine attributes. You got the samurai, great warriors, but they love the cherry blossom tree. No one talked about their fondness for flowers. You would get beheaded.
you get
Where did this
beheaded.
come from? Chivalry. It's not a way to pander to women. It was a code of the medieval knights. You see, the whole alpha male concept is a myth. When you study it, I break it down as well, there is no battle between 2 wolves to see who's going to lead the wolf pack. The leaders of the wolf pack are the breeding pair, the male and female.
Today years old.
You listen, you can Google that. It's
Today
out
years
there.
old.
So in other words, from a human standpoint, the alpha wolves are those that are married. And then when you look at my brothers who often proudly boast being alpha, when you really look at them, when I meet with them, they're trying to hide behind the childhood trauma, the insecurities, the fears. Your whole embodiment is to please women, from the glasses to the cigars, to the big Bugattis, to the Ferraris, to the shoes, to the clothes. But yet you're the alpha. But yet your whole life is geared around pleasing women. And we don't see it because we've been conditioned to believe that we are to lead by intimidation. Those aren't the greatest leaders. If that was the case, we would have great peace in this world. So I lead by example, not intimidation. And that's why it's important, especially for our young brothers. I had made an acronym for the word thug, which is a traumatized human unable to grieve. And so that's why I step on your shoe, you're ready to hit me or pull your gun out and shoot me. Why you can't take disrespect, you can't even process it to keep yourself in an advantageous position. Now you do something, you react instead of respond. Now you like this and the police taking you away. And you lost the real fight because you haven't ruled your emotions. You only got 2 characteristics: provide and protect.
Yes, sir.
And you don't even know how to do those well. We provide for everyone else but us, brother. And I ain't talking about financially, but being able to rest.
Yeah.
And we understand.
That's why I needed God. And I came to that moment when I almost lost my freedom and I almost died. I was like, dude, I keep trying to do this by myself. I can't do it. I don't know what I'm doing. And I got good people that's around me that's telling me like, yo, G, tighten up. You cannot do it alone. You don't need me. You don't need that person. You don't need that person. You need the higher power. You need to read your word. You need to pray. You need to fast, and but all of that turns down to be you need to pray to your Lord and Savior to protect you from harm's way, from demons and demonic things that could come around you. I didn't know how to process that. But I'm hard. Yeah, what happened? But that's all a facade. That's all a facade. And he's knocking them right down. Knocking them right down. That's crazy.
Which is a physical act of just resting. But rest is a spiritual act. Rest is Hebrew for Sabbath.
Yeah.
It restores you completely. That's why brothers have a hard time taking naps when their wives come home. We jump up like, I gotta keep working. Our identity, when you're only masculine, your identity is in doing. You're not a human being, you're a human doing. I gotta keep moving, I gotta keep working, I gotta keep grinding. When you look at the word grinding, we know as men of God that words are powerful. Life and death is in the power of the tongue. The word grinding means to wear down, to crush, to oppress. You yell grinding in a machinery shop, they hitting stop, boom, stop, something's wrong. Because when you're grinding, you're wearing down. That's why the majority of people who say they grind look wore out.
Yeah.
So I believe the Most High has called me like, men are tired of suffering in silence.
Facts.
We see now like, wait a minute, there's more to life than just doing.
Right.
But until you have enough courage to be authentic and really express, like really allow like Christ to live through you, you'll never really fulfill what you're called to do. And that's why I'm thankful for my mom, that experience. I never thought I would be thankful that my mother developed dementia and I had to endure all that I had. But now, where I am as a man, I wouldn't trade it for anything.
No, that's really good. Even as I'm listening to you, I'm thinking
I like that.
Like how our working definition of manhood or masculinity has effects on women, right? But I'm curious, like for you, how would you define masculinity or define manhood?
Well, that's the catch right there. So we think masculinity is a comprehensive definition of manhood or being a man. It's not. When you look up the word, it's a few attributes: boldness, strength, aggression. Though traditionally ascribed to men.
Okay.
That's it. Wait a minute, I was created to do way more than that.
Right.
Hence why you never hear women say, I'm a feminine woman. You rarely hear that. There may be a feminist movement, but you never hear a woman just lock into one facet of her humanity, because she knows. I had a single mom. She had to be anything and everything at every given moment. So she knew how to meet the demand of everything. She had to move from the fighter to the provider, to the leader, to the nurturer, to the gentle woman, to the friend. She knew how to do it all. Look at Harriet Tubman, brother. Did she exude masculine characteristics? Absolutely.
Boldness.
But she also had the nurturing side as well. So first and foremost, we don't need to redefine masculinity. It means what it is what it is. I'm thankful for
It's
it.
self-explanatory.
If this building caught on fire, I wouldn't want firemen coming in here not in a masculine spirit. Boom, come on, get out. I want them slanging doors on me, get me up out this boy.
Get me out there.
But that energy isn't needed when you're dealing with a child with disability. When you're dealing with, you may have a son who may struggle with academics and you get frustrated. Boom, why don't you just listen to do what you're supposed to do? No.
I need you to get out of my house.
Exactly. You're so silly, man.
Out of my house.
I thought you were literally, that's hilarious. But no, that's the thing. So what is manhood? So biblically, there is no masculine and feminine attributes. There's only human characteristics. Look at David again. Look at Yeshua, Jesus, for instance. He exuded every characteristic. I close with him in the book because that's where the whole concept came from.
Yeah.
He was a fighter when he made a whip of cords, beating out the money changer. He was a provider when he fed 5,000 people with 2 fish and 5 loaves. He was the leader, teaching his disciples how to be what? Fisher of men. I can go on and on. He was the nurturer, the gentleman. He would communicate with women in a time when you wasn't supposed to speak with them on an intimate level.
Yeah.
No ulterior motives. The gentleman. So what is manhood? Manhood is exuding as many characteristics as possible to help you really accomplish why you're here. They're really, when you even saying the word manhood, if we think about it, it locks us in. I remember I was at a Charlemagne event, the Mental Wealth Expo in New York, and the moderator asked me, how do you define a man? I said, you can't. Once you do, you've limited his life. I never let no one define me.
Yeah.
So, I mean, even a definition of manhood, I'm glad you asked it. It's like, what is it?
So what do you do? Because I mean, we are in a society where there's a lot of like gender fluidity, and this is a man and this is not a man. Like, you're not trying to erase?
No, I want to be unequivocally clear.
Yeah.
Okay. I am very masculine.
Okay.
You can ask anyone. I'm more masculine. I'm actually, I believe I have a great blend. I know how to go from the lion and the lamb.
Yeah.
See, when you train in martial arts, you understand you can't just be one all the time.
Right.
That's why I love MMA. If I'm a great striker and I stay with that, okay, that's just, just say that's masculine. And a guy shoots for my legs to take me down, and I don't have a ground game, I'm done.
Right.
Same thing in life. If all you can do is provide and protect, you can't be a nurturer. You're not a gentleman. You don't even know what the lover is. It's not about sex with women, but it's much deeper than that. You don't know what it means to be a husband, father, and a son.
Yeah.
You're limited. You're going to lose in life and in the cage. So I want to be clear. No, I am very masculine.
Yeah.
I am the lion.
Right.
But I'm also the lamb.
Yeah, I think what I hear you saying is that as a man, I don't have to just live in the realm of provide and protect. I'm not limited to that. Matter of fact, that hinders me.
What happens, brother? Man, when you're older, say you're 70 now, you're retired. Well, let's use athletics for example. Why do you think it's so hard for athletes to retire?
Their identity is wrapped up. Yeah.
Now, when I speak to professional athletes, the most liberating thing I can tell them is that you weren't created to play this sport. Some of them even start crying because it frees them. Like, when you're 70 now, you feel you're useless. I got men who worked in on assembly lines feeling like they're nothing because they can't provide the same way they used to.
I want to actually, I'm glad you said that, right? You said that these men ended up crying because of that reality. I knew of you way beforehand, but the world knew you because, there was a young man who was breaking a board in your martial arts class, and you let him cry and work through his emotions, which no one had really ever seen, right? No one has seen a martial arts teacher like dealing with somebody trying to break a board, like, cry, let it out, you know what I mean? And that video went viral, like millions of views later.
Yeah.
I'm curious, like, men started calling you to cry to you on the phone. Like, what happened?
So this is what's deep, brother. They didn't call to cry to me. They cried to our women's staff.
Wow.
We had to shut down a union nonprofit for 2 days. The phone would not stop ringing. Men across the world were like, I wish my coach would have gave me that moment. I wish my father would have understood that I was more than this. And I used to think it was a black thing, like only black men struggle with this. That's when I was awakened, like Most High was like, no. All men struggle with this. Men from Australia calling, crying. Asia, I mean, it was like, whoa. And in that moment, what people don't realize, the student Bruce, he broke the board many times before during practice. I knew it was his fear of failure because his family was all there. And that's why I dropped to one knee, being more intentional with discipleship. Like, you're the most important person in this room, and I wanted to free him. I said, oh, we cry as men. I want to let you know that. And I tell brothers who don't like physically share tears, you may get them tattooed, but you're crying, but you're crying the wrong way. You're crying through spousal abuse. You're crying through alcoholism. You're crying through pornography. You're crying through depression. You're crying through suicidal ideations. So why not cry the right way, the natural way, and release all that you've been holding on to? So you have all of these grown men calling with broken boys inside. Like, in that moment, they saw themselves on that mat. And I had no idea we had been doing it, because I was liberated when my mother had the stroke and I cried, and my students saw, oh, I can be human, but the world hadn't. And so in that moment, it was surreal, because I didn't know what was like. When it went viral, I didn't know why people were calling. Yeah. It was just normal. But when you give a young boy, first you affirm that nothing is wrong with you because you're a human being. Those tears are triggered from a deeper emotion. Your soul is grieving. It's natural. Yeshua, the most powerful person, God, man, to walk the earth, okay, cried when Lazarus died, okay, wept openly in the streets of Jerusalem. If I do that now, guys are like, what's wrong with you? Yeah. No, I'm human. I will not be boxed in anymore. And so that's what made that moment powerful.
Yeah. You said something that you didn't know that it was more than black men. And I am curious though, because from that statement, it sounds like your initial kind of focus group was the young black men in the community around you, right?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's all I was around, yeah, for sure.
So I'm just curious, like, when I think of young black men, specifically like in an urban context, football, basketball, track, not martial arts. So what makes you feel like I can do this in this community and it's gonna work?
Ooh, that's deep, man. That is so deep, man. That is so deep, man. That's so deep.
Okay. It didn't make sense to me.
Yo. I wanna watch the whole video, but I have more things to do, so I can't tune too much into this video. But this video is powerful, and I recommend y'all go watch the video, man, because this is what we need to talk about. This is what we need to face. You know what I'm saying? So this was a beautiful conversation, you know, and I support both of y'all, and I salute to both of y'all, you know. But this is the end of this video, you know. This definitely inspired me on a different level. I want to appreciate everything, you know. Like and subscribe, you know. Y'all like the video, and we're gonna keep going, man. We're gonna keep going and making things happen and trying to make a difference. Yeah.